Hope Helen for Seconds Out, now with Hamzah Sheeraz. Hamzah, what did you make of all of that?
Do you know, it's great to see, to say the least. It's amazing to see. For fighters such as myself, it shows what, if I continue to win and if I can get to the top, what my potential future could look like. But in terms of just being a fan of the sport, it's great. It's amazing to finally see the big fights happening.
1999 was the last unified champion in this division.
I was born in 99. Do you know what I mean? So
I was 2. I was 2 years old. So it's about time this has happened.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that we've had to wait for Saudi Arabia to help us make these fights happen, really?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think before that it was all about egos, all about certain demands, certain fighters they knew they wouldn't get, or other fighters would price themselves out. And now His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh has come in and said, listen, whatever you lot want, well, this is it. Let's make these fights happen. Let's make boxing great again. So a huge thank you to the Saudis for making it possible for it to happen. And I've been saying this in my other interview, just the good thing about this is taking the attention of the YouTube boxing away and shown what boxing, real boxing, is actually about.
Because the problem is, when big fights like this don't happen, people are drawn more to like the misfits side of things, aren't they?
Yeah, no, for sure. And there would be, because you got two big influencers actually fighting them. Two people who have the biggest fan base and who people are interested in.
And it's regular.
Exactly that, and it's consistent as well. And this is what's happening here. We got one mega fight in December and another mega fight in February. So, I mean, there is no negatives to any of this. That's the great thing about it, and it's just a positive looking at it as a whole.
Fury was on good form tonight, as per usual, calling him a sausage and what have you. Do you think he was a little bit calmer than normal, considering he was coming off that performance that he's been criticised for?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think that performance he had is completely irrelevant to this, because you got to remember he's fighting. You got to put yourself in his shoes. If you're the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Ring Magazine, you name it, whatever, he's got the credentials, and you fight someone who's coming from the UFC, who doesn't really have a history of any actual boxing.
You can't study because they haven't fought before.
And you won't even take it serious. I don't care what anyone says. It's human nature to think, you know what, I'll have a few gym sessions here, I'll be all right. My natural ability will take over. But, you know, it's just one of them things. He got it done, and that's all that mattered. But now, when you got someone in front of you who you know poses a threat, it gives you that extra edge, that extra grit between your teeth to wake up at that 4 a.m. to do that extra session, to do that extra round in sparring. So we'll definitely see the best version of both fighters.
Fury spoke about heart and how badly you want it. Now we know what Usyk's been through in the past few years, and he has shown that heart in the ring time and time again. Fury also mentioned size being a potential problem and a benefit for him. What do you think?
When there's this much at stake, I think no fighter will be silly enough to go in there and just lay down. There's too much at stake, and especially, you know what, you got to remember, it's not only the belts on stake here, it's the reputation of boxing as well. Like, it goes back to what I was saying about the YouTube malarkey. The whole reputation of boxing on the line here as well, because they're fighting after the Joshuas and the Wilders. So, God willing, they put on a great performance. They only put extra pressure for these guys to go in there and perform. So, like I said, it won't be a matter of he's got no heart and that. They'll both go in there and go out on their shield.
Let's discuss December 23rd. It must be a little bit bittersweet for both of these fighters tonight, because that was meant to be their date. But we have got a good replacement.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that card and who you're excited to see.
Do you know what? It's a great card. I'm especially happy for Elias Zorro, because he's got the opportunity of a lifetime.
Amazing opportunity for him.
And but I don't know him personally. I've never met him. I've seen him fight. But it's opportunities like that coming from fighters such as myself have not had the amateur background. When you get these opportunities, it means the world. You know what I mean? Listen, he gets in there. If he gets the job done, he can change his whole future, change his family's future as well. So I'm pretty happy for him as well. But then when you look at the main event, Wilder and Parker, I don't think that's going to be competitive. I don't really think that's going to be competitive. I'm looking forward to Joshua and Otto Wallin.
Go back to that one a minute. Yeah. Wilder and Parker. Why won't it be competitive?
Do you know what it is?
Who wins?
I know I could be completely wrong. I think Wilder just wipes him out within 3 rounds. And this is just going off the fact this is off his performances off the Joe Joyce fight, and even the fights he's had after that, the comeback fights. He should have been wiping them guys out really and truly, but you know, he'll have no pressure on him. That's the thing. The pressure will be on Wilder, so all he's got to do is land one, and you never know what happens. But I don't think that will happen. But yeah, going back to what I was saying about the Joshua and Wallin fight, I'm looking forward to that because, you know, the history Joshua's had with Southpaws being Oleksandr Usyk. This gives him the chance to, I wouldn't say put things right because Wallin's not the caliber of fighter Usyk is, but it kind of gives him that sense of confidence to think if I have a third fight with Usyk, I could potentially do it again.
Let's talk about you for a moment. Obviously, your fight on December 2nd has been postponed. How are you doing with the recovery?
Do you know what it was? I got a perforated eardrum I picked up in sparring about 2 weeks ago. And when I found out the fight would be rescheduled, I was a bit gutted, to be fair, especially being overseas in LA and being in camp and invested so much into camp as well. But you know what it is? It's part. The only way I can really look at it is it's part of boxing. It's part of the sport. It is what it is. I'm glad the fight's not actually been cancelled. It's been rescheduled, so that makes it a little bit more better. And you can't swim without getting wet, as they say.
The thing is, I'm not a boxer myself, obviously, but I mean the physical side of it is one thing, but the mental capacity and the ability to be determined, strong, and have that fire in your belly, injuries is one part of that because you've got to be able to not let it overcome you.
You know, I was saying this and the doctor said I can't train for a month. I can't do nothing for a month. I have to just let it heal. And it's different when you're allowed to go for a run and clear your head. But it's not until you're not allowed to do nothing you realise.
You can't run or anything.
No, nothing. I can't do literally nothing. He goes, you can if you want. He goes, but it will slow down the healing process. So it's all about staying sane up here. So that's why I decided to come out here, do interviews, just stay in that kind of flow state and just stay active. Otherwise, I'd be in my room and I wouldn't leave. And I don't want to go in a dark hole, which is in 2 or 3 weeks' time hard to come out of. So it's all about just staying mentally sane, staying mentally fit, and it just gives you a newfound respect for fighters such as Tyson Fury who have come out of that dark hole and who are here doing what they're doing and doing it to the best of their ability.
Having an injury or having a lifestyle change like Tyson did perhaps is going to make you more resilient as a fighter, and that's only a good thing.
Now, of course, and people, they only see the fighters through the cameras. They see them on the fight weeks where they're not actually themselves, they're on edge, they're their mental state is all about getting the fight, staying switched on. But away from it, just normal people. And people seem to forget that, so they get a lot more stick. I understand you're in the media and you chose to do what you're doing, but at the same time, people need to understand when I say we're, Tyson Fury and the A-list fighters are just normal people. They got families, they live their day-to-day lives when they're not in camp, and sometimes people need to put themselves in their shoes.
Absolutely agree with that. Well, Hamzah, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the evening and rest up.
Thank you very much. Catch you soon.